Good morning, my friends. We are live. We did it. We fixed our little Facebook issue. I don't know if you guys have heard, maybe from other groups, etc. Facebook has changed the way they connect to third-party programs. So I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why they want to do that. So they have changed the way that they connect over. And so because of that, we couldn't use the format we were using before, and we had to kind of wait until this week. Hang on a second, I'm just turning down my volume here. So we had to wait this week to kind of figure out their new way of connecting via Facebook and our third-party program. So I have a favor to ask you. If you guys are watching me live, please say hello. Please comment so I know that this is all working. I can see myself live, so I know I am live. I just want to see that the comment section works because it's all a little bit different. Now we have a little dashboard that we look at, which we never had before. So it's all kind of interesting. So like I said, if you guys are there, please say hello. Tell me you're out there watching me. So that I know, and I'll go ahead and start the program in just a couple of minutes. I'm really excited. So today we are doing the continuation of the door banner panels. Say that fast 5 times, right? So we're doing a little bit of a continuation of that program, of that panel rather. And what we are doing. What we are going to do now is I'm going to show you a different section of how to quilt it. Something that's a little bit more tricky, a little bit more complicated. Oh, Marianne, you can see me. Perfect. Thank you so much for letting me know. I appreciate it. If you guys are watching me live, please say hello. Tell me where you're from. And that way I know the comment section is, in fact, working. So while we're waiting for a few of our friends to join on, since I did change the time on you guys because I couldn't get the other one to work and I was still setting it up, I do have a couple of classes coming up, and maybe I can talk to you guys about that a little bit if you guys are interested. I do have an advanced IQ Designer, My Design Center retreat coming up in June, at the end of June. If you guys are familiar with IQ Designer, My Design Center, you've worked around that part of the machine, you're familiar with the icons, then this would be a really good retreat for you. It's a 2-day retreat, and we work on 2 main projects and 1 project that I kind of talk about, and we do it together, but you sew that one out on your own because it's just straight sewing or straight embroidery, I guess. So the techniques are as follows. I mean, you get a lot. You get to learn how to do flying geese in IQ Designer. You learn how to add binding in the machine automatically. And we do this cute, adorable placemat. And then the second project is we do a flower bouquet where we learn all about artwork and cleaning up and layering our applique. So it's just a lot of fun. So if you guys are interested, I have one coming up in June, and you just need to go to my website at salimacreates.com, and you'll have all the information right there. The other thing I am starting in the middle of May, which 3rd week of May, 3rd Tuesday of May, is a candle mat club. And it's just basically one of those round candle mats that you can put a candle on it, you can put a cup, you can put a vase, anything that you want on there, and just a decorative piece. And each month we'll do different techniques, and they'll be seasonal. So that's going to be a lot of fun as well. And that's starting the third Tuesday of every month, starting in May. So again, that is also on my website. All right, it looks like I've got a few of you on, so let's go ahead and get started in today's class. Let me go ahead and change the overhead. If you guys are watching, please let me know where you're watching from so that I know I have some people watching and my comment section is working. As you know, or as I explained earlier, Facebook has changed the way we go live now, using our programs, and so we just had to do a little bit of setting up this morning. So I kind of changed the time on you guys, just trying to get my system working. Okay, so today we're going to do this little cone here. I'm going to show you how to actually digitize for a different shape. We did the square last time. It was an easy shape to do, and I'm going to show you on these 2 right here. So I'm going to do one the regular way, and I'm going to do one a different way. So two different ways of doing it, just so that you guys can see how to, if you wanted to quilt a section of a quilt and it's a different shape, how do you guys do it? So that's the class for today. So let me go ahead and attach my hoop to my machine. Let's do it this camera here. So I'm going to go ahead and just attach this hoop. I'm using a magnetic hoop, and I'm just attaching it to the machine. I'm going to make sure that nothing is going to get in my way here. So I'm just going to kind of roll it up, make sure nothing is caught in the back. And the first thing I'm going to do for my project is I'm going to do a fabric scan. Hi, Dawn. Dawn's from Utah. Welcome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to, let's change the angle a little bit, to IQ Designer or My Design Center. I'm going to go ahead and click on that icon, and I'm going to go up here to Fabric Scan. So I'm going to click on the little Fabric Scan icon at the very top. It's that leaf image with the arrow pointing outwards. So when I click on that, I'm going to click on Image Scan so it scans my image. Oops, just trying to focus my machine here. Hang on one second. All right. So I'm going to click on Image, and I'm going to click on Scan. So it's going to do a background scan. So I'll click OK and watch my machine do that little scan. So here it is, just going to do a quick scan. Hi, Fancy Pants, welcome. All right, so it's just doing a little background scan of my block here, of my panel. And then I'm going to show you two ways of quilting in an oddball shape. I'm going to call it an odd, even though it is a triangle, relatively speaking. But we're going to kind of pretend that it's just a funky shape, and we're going to try to quilt in that little shape. So as soon as it finishes scanning, I'll show you how to do that. All right, so there we are. It went ahead and scanned it. I'll show it to you on my machine. You can see the ice cream cones right here on the screen. I will go at the very top here to make my background a bit darker so that I can see it. I can go even a little bit darker. And then what we're going to do is a couple of things. So you can go ahead and you can click on the shapes icon. And I'm going to click a triangle because essentially the cone is an upside down triangle, right? So I'm going to go ahead and click on the triangle and grab the triangle. And then I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees. Once I rotate it, I'm going to go ahead and click on size, and then I'm going to size it. So I'm going to size it to match up the shape of my cone. Okay, so I'm going to kind of eyeball it at first and move it over. Let me go ahead and zoom in so you guys can really see that. There we go. And then I'm going to make it a little bit wider, just so it kind of covers the entire fabric. I don't always go up to the outside line. I kind of stay a little bit shy of it just because I don't want it to go over my design. You can see here there's a little bit of a bend here in the image, and I think that's just my fabric as it's scanned it. My fabric may have had a little ripple and it just scanned it like that. Oh, Washington State, Joanne, it's rainy down there. Well, you know, it's gloomy here today. It's like one day it's really sunny and we're in California, and one day it's like really cold. So it's crazy. And then we have a Diana from Tennessee. Welcome, my friends. I do notice here at the very top, I'm a little bit higher than I should be. So I'll go ahead and reduce the size of the height as well a little bit. All right, so then I'll go ahead and say okay to that. And the easiest way to do this is we don't want necessarily the outline to stitch out, but I do want the inside to fill. So I'll click on my line properties icon, which is right over here, the little piece of paper with the line underneath it. And I'll click on the no sew option. So the no sew option is that zigzag with the line running at an angle. And then I'll go ahead and just say okay. I'll click on this bucket or cup icon to activate that icon, and I'm going to touch the outline of my triangle. So this outline became a no sew, And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my fill properties, which is this guy right here, piece of paper with a little box behind it. And then I'm going to click on my decorative or my fancy fills. So when I click on that, I've got several options after I click on the word select. And you can just scroll through and pick a fun shape or fun pattern that you'd like to do. I kind of think this reminds me of an ice cream cone, like a waffle weave, I guess you call it. So I'm going to click on that one and just say okay. I will leave the color at red and I'll just say okay. And then I'll click on this bucket or cup icon to activate it, and I'm going to click inside my image. Okay, as easy as that. When I click on the word next, this is where I have options. I can go ahead and change the size of my fill. So I'm going to go ahead and let's say change it to, I don't know, let's say just try 65% and see what it looks like. It looks pretty good. And then I can go ahead and just click on the word set and then okay. And then what I like to do on this screen here, I like to do a couple of things. You can either do the background scan again, or you can go towards the embroidery side and use the projector. So either way. So let's go ahead and do it. Let's do the background scan again. So I'll scan it one more time. And it's going to do a little scan. So I'm just going to kind of fine tune my positioning is what I'm calling this step. Just kind of fine tuning it to make sure it really fits into my design. If I need to shrink it a little bit or stretch it or move it, I can. All right, so let's see what it looks like. I'm going to click OK to close out my dialog box so I can see my design here. I could actually just maybe stretch it a little bit. So let's click on the size icon. Just adjusting my camera a bit. And let's say I go ahead and just stretch it, make it a little bit bigger. Basically, I'm making it wider. And if I wanted to, I can move it down a little bit. And then I can make it taller. And then I could say okay, and then I could stitch it out. So that looks pretty good. Okay, so it's just that easy to go ahead and embroider and isolate a shape and then fill in and quilt inside that shape. But I want to show you something a little bit different, if you guys don't mind me showing you that. So I'm just going to click home. I'm not going to save it. I'm just going to kind of start all over here. So I'm going to go back to my design center or IQ Designer. Got something on my screen there. And I'm going to go ahead and two things I want to show you. So we're going to go back up to the leaf icon with the arrow pointing outwards, and I'm going to click on image scan. So I'm going to start the same way. And I'm going to, instead of clicking on the word scan, I've already scanned in my design. So I'm going to click on the sewing machine icon. And I have here what's called a last scan. So I'm just going to click on that last scan and then just say, click on the word set. So it basically will bring up the last scan on my screen. Easy, right? So you don't have to rescan it. I'll go ahead and make it darker again, just like I did before. So now if I wanted to go ahead and quilt this one or quilt this particular cone, ice cream cone, you could do a couple of things here. Now on my quilt, I don't know if you guys can see it, but let me just, maybe I can change. I do have a seam right here. I've got a seam allowance right here. So what I could do is treat each of these as two rectangular boxes, or I could treat them as one big box. Either way, I think you'd get the same results. I'm going to go ahead and treat them as two individual boxes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my basic square. So the way what I'm showing you now is if you have a shape that's not in one of these shapes, like if you're trying to quilt something that's not in a basic shape or it's not in the closed shapes, how do you quilt it? The first technique I showed you, there was the simple triangle, so it was easy enough to do, right? But there might be times when there's not a shape that you need and you want a shape and it's not on the machine. So anyways, you go ahead and click on the square. And then what you want to do is you want to size this square to fit your quilt block, whatever the block is that you're trying to quilt. So I'm going to go ahead and size this. I'm going to make it taller, but I'm going to make it narrower. So something like that. I'm basically just trying to make sure that this entire bottom of this ice cream cone is inside my square. Okay, now I do see another rectangular box behind it. I think I have my no, I don't have my 5x7. Maybe it's just the fabric. I can see another little square box around that. It might just be the fabric. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do, my friends. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, the same first step, I'm going to do a no-sew icon because I don't want the outline to stitch out. Oh, there are two shapes. I thought so. See, look at that. I need to get rid of this one. Wait a minute here. So it's going to grab the whole thing. I'm just going to start all over. I don't know where did that one come from? Maybe I had already clicked it and I clicked it on it twice. Okay, let's do this again. We're resizing. Here we go. It's okay. Doing it again builds muscle memory. As one of my dear sweet friends tells me, it always just kind of builds muscle memory. So we're just going to make it bigger. So I want to make sure that this entire ice cream cone base here is in my square. So something like that. I will go ahead and once again do the no sew and do okay. I'll click on the cup or the bucket or the cup icon and I'm going to touch that outline. So the outline now is a no sew. Now I want to fill inside here. So what we're going to do is it's kind of like reverse applique. We're going to click on the fill properties. I'm going to obviously still click the same fill. Click on select and select fill 006. And then I'll say okay. I'll keep the color red. I'm not going to change it. And then I'll click on this bucket or cup icon and click inside my rectangular box. And you're thinking, oh my God, what is she doing? She's got it in the entire rectangular box, but you only want it in that ice cream cone, right? So then what we're going to do is we're going to delete what we don't need, okay? So to do that, might be a good idea to zoom in. I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to grab my eraser icon. And maybe I'll change the size of my eraser to a little bit bigger size so it'll erase a little bit faster. And then change it to my square option and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to erase. So when I'm erasing the perimeter, I'm going kind of fast because it's easy to do it like this. When I get close to my ice cream cone, I'm going to slow it down a little bit because I don't want to make sure I don't want to delete something that I need actually. So I'm kind of doing this fast around the perimeter. I'm going to slide my little bar down and I'm going to come over here and erase here. So then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to reduce the size because this is huge, right? This eraser size is huge. And what I always do, my friends, is whenever I select my size, I always start in the negative space here, in the empty space, so I can see what size eraser that really is. Okay, so I can see the size eraser. It looks good to me. So now I'm going to take my time and I'm going to glide my way up and I'm going to erase. Okay, it's kind of therapeutic. I find this process really therapeutic. I don't know why I do, but I do. Just kind of erasing. You know, it's like when you were in kindergarten or preschool and you were coloring. And you just kind of were coloring inside the lines, as my mom used to always tell my kids, color inside the lines. Well, this is kind of like that. You're not coloring necessarily, but you're just erasing. If you've gone too far in, just click and undo, and it will undo that last little bit you do. Now, here's a little tip, my friends. When you are erasing, you always want to take the eraser to erase, and then you want to stop. You want to pause. The reason you want to pause is if you need to undo like I do undo right now, it'll only undo the last little bit I did. If I didn't pause, it will undo pretty much wherever you started erasing from. So pausing is key. You want to definitely pause so in case you have to undo, you don't have to start from the beginning. I hope that makes sense. Anybody have any questions so far? I'm using a mouse here because I want to make sure that my hands are clear from the screen of the sewing machine so that you guys can really see. Okay. Then I'm going to come over here to the top and I'm going to erase on the top. And there you have it. Same thing as I showed you earlier by filling in the cone, but this is if you have an oddball shape that you don't have in your machine, you could still erase and you could still quilt around that. Okay, when you're done with that, you would go ahead and you would click on the word next. And at this stage, you can go ahead and size your fill. So if you wanted to make it smaller, you can go ahead and make it smaller. So if I want to go to that 65% size that I had earlier, I can still do the same thing. I can click on the word set. I can click on the word OK. Pretty cool, right? And the background still stays there because I didn't stitch anything out, so the background still stayed there. Now you can, if you wanted to do a final check, you can also go to the embroidery side and you can go and use the projector. If you wanted to size it a little bit, you can click on the size, and if you wanted to, I don't know if I want to, but if you need to, you can click on the size, so just like before, and kind of make this a little bit wider or a little bit taller, whatever you need to do, and then just click OK. We're going to click embroidery here at this spot right now. Click on the word, whoops, sorry, I'm just sliding my camera down. Click on the word embroidery and click the start button, and I'm ready to start. So let me go ahead and change my screen over to the machine. I did do one thing. Oh, let me show you that one thing I did. I did do one thing on my machine. I went over to my scissors icon right here, and I'm going to turn off my end color trim and my jump stitch trim. Okay, I am turning off both of these trims. I will say OK, and then at my machine I will bring up my bobbin thread. So I will lower my presser foot, lower my needle, raise my needle, and then bring up my bobbin thread. So I've got two threads here at the very top. Okay, I've got both my threads there. Lower my presser foot, and I'll go ahead and start my embroidery. And then in a couple of minutes, I'll just go ahead and cut the tail off so it doesn't get in my way. Pretty easy, right? I know, Marianne, it's really hot. These machines do a lot, and I always say the more you do with them, you know, the more you'll remember and the more you'll have fun with it. And that's why I teach a monthly class. So every month we are on our machines, we are learning different techniques, some new, some repetitive, mixture of both, etc. So that's why every month I do a monthly class. You can find all of my classes on SalimaCreates.com. And they're all live classes via Zoom, so you can interact with me and ask questions in real time. It's a lot of fun. I just love how this fill looks on the base of this cone. I think it's just perfect for it, right? About another minute left to this design. Anybody have any questions for me? And just like we did the ice cream cone, if you wanted to quilt that background white fabric, you could do the same technique, do the rectangular box, but this time you would erase whatever's in the ice cream cone and then leave whatever's around that on the machine, on the screen. It's really cool. Thanks, Miriam. All right, it's just coming up to the top, but it's almost finished. So both cones, I would do the same type of a fill. The same. I think it just fits that shape really nicely. It looks like an ice cream cone. I'm not going to take the time to do it to embroider the second one. You saw how I digitized it in the beginning. That's how I used a regular triangle for that first cone to give you an idea. So I hope this lesson helps, kind of like a little refresher for some of you. Some of you, it might be new, just a really quick, easy way to fill blocks in and quilt them on your embroidery machine using IQ Designer or My Design Center. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon in one of my classes. All right, you guys have a great rest of the day. Bye.